And that's why I think like everybody in Wisconsin should not be there anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. So welcome back to Roving Slant.
It's another day in paradise for the boys.
That's right. What episode is this? 7?
No, I think it's 6. You're always one ahead.
I am.
Yeah. You're living in the future. That's a problem. Remember the power of now? I think that's like the second episode.
Yeah. So
live here.
I mean, I tried to read the book, but it ended up not being the book. So
yeah. Well, when you do read it by episode 56, well, I'll be able to talk about it.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
But
speaking of living in the future and not living in the present, and speaking of presents, it sounds like you forgot, and this is going to date our episode, you forgot of the Hallmark holiday, Valentine's.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot Valentine's Day. I was texting my co-host here about, he said we can't do the day we normally do, so we'll do, why don't we do Monday or Wednesday? I'm like, oh, I'm not doing anything Monday. Let's do that. As it ends up, Monday was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So I text the fiance, hey, I'm going to do the podcast and I won't be home. And she texts back, seriously? Just that? Just one word with a period? I then was like, oh, is that a problem? I mean, we can change it. I didn't even realize it was Valentine's Day for a really long time. Eventually, I look at the calendar. It was Valentine's Day. And, like, I did have plans for Valentine's Day, but, like, my whole schedule got swapped around. So, like, I was going to make dinner and, like, have candles and junk. So I was like, well, time to move up the plan and, try to unbreak this.
Well, it was just a play. It was a facade. You were trying to tell her that you forgot Valentine's Day so that you could go in and give her the best Valentine's Day ever.
That's right.
It was a bait and switch.
You caught me.
You wanted to break her hopes, make her despair, so that the Valentine's Day celebration is only sweeter.
No, she hated it. Well, she ended up liking what I did. But yeah, so basically, right, this was middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I sent the text and was like, okay, well, I mean, I got to fix Valentine's Day. I went to the store. I bought candles. I bought candlestick holders.
Oh, man.
I got, like, I bought a box of chocolates. I also was like, oh, while I'm out, I have some bonds from when I was born. I'm going to cash those in today. So I put those in my back pocket to cash in afterwards, but that's besides the point. I got chocolate, candles, some food.
Cash the bonds.
After checking out, I reach in my back pocket to find the bonds, and they're missing.
Wow.
So I lost them in the store. So this made me panic, right? Okay, so I threw all the stuff in my car really quickly, pushed the cart into the cart holder, and then went back in the store and I walked around all the places I already walked. And then I'm like, okay, couldn't find it. I went up to a cashier that I checked out. I'm like, hey, did anybody come up with like an envelope or anything? Because they were in an envelope. And he's like, no, but you can check customer service. I go and check customer service. Thankfully, some Good Samaritan brought it up there.
Wow,
so,
dude.
Thank you, Good Samaritan.
You got hella lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, wow.
You have to have my social security number.
Oh, okay.
And, like, my name.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they wouldn't be able to cash them in.
Why don't they just have a record of it, then? Why do you need to have the physical bonds if they already tied to your... Is it just that they hope you lose it so that you don't get your money?
I have no idea. Really quickly, I can tell you how much money I got.
Yeah, how much was
so
it?
I had 250s and a 100
okay.
bond. So $200, right? And it matures mostly after 30 years. I'm not 30 yet, and I got them when I was born.
Okay.
So they weren't fully mature, but they were close enough to where it was like, you can cash them and get some money.
Mm-hmm.
I got $222.
Wow.
So let me tell you, not worth it.
No.
You got to wait, like...
30 years for...
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, 250 would be probably the mature.
What a waste of time.
It is. This was something else I was going to talk... Actually, I'll just do this really quick. I also I had a CD
Yeah.
I had started 2 years ago, and it expires end of this month. I called to see how much it was worth.
Yeah.
And I put $10,000. I was like, oh, I have this. I'm just going to put it away and not think about it, and just, this is what I was told in high school is what prints free money. I'm ready. And so I put my 10 G's in there. I call, and I'm like, so when am I going to get it, and how much do I get? And she's like, okay, so you're going to get it at the end of the month, and it's worth $10,822. Also not worth it. I could have bought trading cards and got more money.
Yeah, honestly,
So,
if you put money in Magic or Pokemon, you would have made like at least 100 times investment on it.
Exactly. Like, what's the point of these boomer investments? I don't know.
So
Anyways.
Waste of time. Holy shit.
So,
oh my god.
but they also asked me if I wanted to put it back. I'm like, no.
You're like, how much was it? What is the rate of appreciation? What dividends do I get? No.
Nothing. But yeah, anyways, back to Valentine's Day.
Wow, that's amazing.
So Valentine's Day, I go back to the house.
Yeah.
I clean everything. Okay. I like with a fine comb, I clean off like the table. I clean out the kitchen, all that stuff. I make dinner. I made pasta. It was pretty good. It had I used prosciutto. I don't know if you ever had that before.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like thin, dry ham.
Mm-hmm.
I fried it up, and it tastes like bacon, right?
Wow.
So
okay,
you can
yeah.
fry it and then crumble it on. Yeah. So basically, I made a pasta with chicken, and then put the crumbled prosciutto on it, and then like plated it up nice. I made it into a heart. And all
Oh
that stuff.
my goodness!
And,
wow.
Yeah, and so she's not even home yet. I put it like the plates. I plate it and then put it in the oven, right? I go into the dining room. I like set out the glasses. Got the forks and knives, right? And then like set out wine, all that stuff. Okay, light the candles, and I put on. I had a full suit on, yeah. So I waited for her to come home, and then I like took her jacket off. I'm like, look, I know you're mad already, but let's just come on. I set up the Valentine's Day. And so I had to make her believe that she was no longer angry at me. And so, yeah, I wrote poetry.
Wow.
Which we can rate.
Yeah, we'll rate after you finish your story, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, that's really about it. I was going to originally write a song.
Yeah.
As I was tuning my guitar, the string broke, so...
There's probably,
Better.
God saying no.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, this chick's gonna fucking hate you.
Yeah. But yeah, so I spent like a couple hours before like writing poetry and junk like that. So.
Honestly, I gotta take romance tips from you. It sounds like you really know how to woo a lady even when you forget Valentine. Holy shit.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. She ended up not hating me.
Great.
We drank like a bottle of wine or so. And maybe a little bit more. So, like, we did that, and then we watched a movie, and it was good.
Sounds like a great night, dude.
Yeah, it was a good time, honestly. So, I love my wife.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't do this if I didn't.
Yeah. So next year, you already set an alarm a week before Valentine's to let you know.
The worst part is that I went on a business trip the week before, and I wasn't planning on coming back till after Valentine's Day.
Oh, I see.
So my original plan was on my way home, pick out all the stuff.
I see.
Much.
So you were like in the mindset of like several days later, that's when you're gonna end up.
Yeah, so that's what made me completely forget about Valentine's Day. I was gonna like plan it for like the Wednesday after, right? So, the chocolate just disappeared. I'm pretty sure I left it in the cart, by the way.
Oh.
So like a $20 box of chocolate.
Man, you're losing more of your return investments from the CD and the bonds, bro. Just chocolate you never got to eat.
Exactly. So, didn't get to give her that, but that's fine.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have wine and other stuff, so whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to pull up my poetry.
Yeah, perfect. Let's hear it.
I only know how to do limericks and haikus.
Okay, please tell me you didn't do a haiku.
You love haikus, don't you?
Yeah. All right. Please continue.
I started with haikus. I moved over to limericks. All right. They get. There's some bad, some good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So wait, how many do you have?
7.
Okay, perfect.
Not bad.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Filled up 1 page,
Yeah.
and I couldn't think of anything else. So let me take a sip of water here.
Yeah, take some water before we read this with dramatic effect.
Mm-hmm.
Your wooing and romance.
Okay, so should I say the title of the poem afterwards or before?
I mean, if it's important and integral to the poem, before. If it's not, or if it's a punchline,
I feel like
then after.
mine are more punchlines.
Okay, then do them after.
So, endeavor. Broken string, now it's poetry. That song was that one was called I Was Going to Write a Song.
Okay. I like that one. That was good.
Yeah. The next one, I love you. Wait, that was simple. Easy haiku. That one's called Too Easy.
Okay.
Fun in Love. Well, wait, should I do this one? It has her name in it. Does it
Censor
matter?
it. Use another name with the same syllables.
Now I gotta think of like.
It takes 2 seconds.
I think this works. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Fun in Love. No one matches my Mitchell.
Perfect.
All right, this is the last of the haikus.
Okay.
Forgotten today. Show affection connection. Be my Valentine.
That sounds almost like portentous.
So this one I think is my worst one.
Okay.
All right.
The bad one.
This is where we start with the limericks.
Okay.
Cheesy poetry is all I know, so some of this might blow. I can make rhymes just to fill times, so after you hear this, I hope you are not my foe.
Honestly, that wasn't that bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Maybe this one's my worst one.
Okay. All right. Never mind. Here we go.
No, I am not just one, for I am a plant and you are my sun. With you I feel whole, even when you pinch my mole. Through pain I don't understand, I still love you. Are you done? The
Some context.
yeah, if I have like a pimple on my arm or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think it's my mom used to do this too, right? She'll see like a whitehead, she'll, I want to pop that. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any experience in this.
No.
Okay, every woman in my life has wanted to pop pimples off of like my arm or back or whatever.
Wow.
It's gross, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's to each their own, I guess.
Exactly.
I got nothing else to say about that.
That one I called pinch. All right, this one I think could be the top tier, potentially.
I don't know, that pimple popping one. I think that's why.
This one I think she liked the most.
Okay.
Okay, so
Best for last.
yes. Hey, I know you probably think this is taking a while, but time passes even slower for me. Sorry. Let me restart.
It's okay, you got stage fright.
I know. Hey, I know you probably think this is taking a while, but time passes even slower for me, partially from your style. I might smirk or be a jerk, but the only reason why I can stay staring for this long is because your smile.
Oh, that is a good one.
I
Yeah,
know.
I like that.
So, how would you rate my poetry?
Honestly, I think you need to do more, bro.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, obviously we don't want to stick in the theme of honey, I'm sorry forever. So hopefully we'll move past it. But
yeah.
It was good.
The theme wasn't too bad.
No.
I think like, because I got a few apologetic ones in there, and I
Yeah.
got some like just goofy whatever
Yeah.
ones. So.
You like interspersed humor and, being
And-
apologetic.
Yeah.
Which is the best way to be apologetic.
That's right.
Is to find the humor in it.
Mm-hmm. So, that was my Valentine's Day.
That's good.
I'm trying to think of anything else. There's nothing else that really happened,
Mhm.
you know. obviously, I apologized. You know, as you do. She wasn't that mad.
No, it was probably more like a playful mad than a.
Oh
like
no, it was not playful. Mad.
Oh, okay.
She told me that her best case scenario, she's going to drink a whole bottle of wine by herself. So I diffused the bomb.
Yeah, we all have our coping mechanisms. So, you know, if you got to take half the battle of the wine, whatever.
There you go. Yeah. You know, so basically, it's not too late to try to fix your relationship, even when you forget.
That's great.
Important-ish dates. You know. So.
I completely understand.
Did anything happen on your Valentine's Day?
So Valentine's Day, no, not specifically. We did some stuff the day before. We did a lot of baking. We made lasagna. I got her flowers.
Oh.
I did order some like little gifts and stuff, but I'm still waiting on them to come in. So
Gotcha.
whatever. I mean,
That's nice.
yeah, it was fun. We did a lot of cooking. We also made cheesecake, which was very good.
Yeah.
We did a banana bread base and then cheesecake on top, which was it's a very complex recipe. I'm gonna be completely honest.
That sounds intense and delicious.
Yeah, it was very intense. And then we also made like a sweet caramel drizzle for the top as well. So overall, like if you like every difficult aspect of cooking aside from like, you know, carving up a bird and making sure, you know, you don't eat the intestines or colon of it or whatever. I mean, preparing all the lasagna and then doing the hard parts of baking, like not trying to fuck up melting sugar into caramel, which is actually a very like difficult process. Yeah, if you know aren't familiar with it.
Yeah,
I'm not very so. Yeah, overall it was good. We had a good time, but that's why I said Monday because I had already done all my
you were done, yeah.
And I was like, he probably knows what day it is, right?
No.
Like, I'll remind you next time.
Hopefully I just remember.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, don't rely on me. Hopefully, hopefully it just happens.
Jesus.
Man.
But yeah, so you probably knew it was Valentine's Day because you were reading Into the Future.
It's true. Yeah, actually, before that, I wanna talk about meeting God and Satan in the same breath.
I'm ready.
Okay, that sounds more dramatic than it is, but just like the carrot story, I've had another brush with what I think is evidence for divinity. Okay, so in doing my art, I have come to appreciate that there is a lot of symbols in mankind. And some are universal. Obviously, colors and things like that are cultural. They're not specifically universal with everyone. There is, like, universal color applications, like the dichotomous nature of white and black in, like, Taoism and the yin and yang symbol, as well as, like, the sun and the moon. But what each culture portrays these things as like, gods or different mentalities, stuff like that, all these symbols coalesce together, and sometimes you get what I would consider the Venn diagram of symbols, that they are cross-cultural and they are understood by all.
Yeah.
Some of these things would be like the symbol of like death. Like we all use different things to represent death, but we all agree on the symbol of death.
Skull and crossbones.
Yeah, skull and cross, skeleton. Those are all things that show death. Like decay is with smell and putrefaction and stuff like that. And then obviously the symbol of life, like a woman that is pregnant, giving birth to a child, those sort of things. Those are universal across all cultures.
Yeah.
So in learning about these symbols, and also in watching a video, I don't know, you could call it a pitch for the hell of our future singularity by our Lord and Savior, Mark Zuckerberg. In that video, on his shelf is the eponymous Book of Symbols.
Oh.
Okay, which I ordered and bought after I got paid. And in reading the book, and looking at some of the stuff, I didn't notice it initially. It wasn't until I started doing work on my art that I had to reference the Sphinx in the book. And the Sphinx is under the incest section because the Sphinx in Oedipus Rex, which is the play about the guy having sex with his mother.
Deformed, right?
Yeah. The Sphinx is part of that. So it is only then, when I looked up the Sphinx, while I was doing the art that I know I had to do, that is my calling, that I recognized in my book there is like 15 pages that are fucked up. And what are the 15 pages that are fucked up? But all the ones pertaining to like sex and sex organs. Like specifically the printing, the bind goes all the way in, and there's print marks from cutting off the text.
Oh, jeez.
On just like phallus, vulva, sperm, masturbation has the print color like matching lines.
Jesus.
Incest, and then it stops there. And I was like, wow, this is really weird. The thing I struggle with most, sex, in a book. And like these are the only things that are messed up.
My God.
Why is it only these that are messed up? Do I need to read them? Is this a message to me? It's so bizarre. And then I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this book. I was like, I'm gonna get it replaced because this is kind of annoying me.
Yeah.
In a way, I didn't take it as a good omen like initially.
Yeah.
And then after like clicking the 3 buttons it takes to get Amazon to replace it, I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, they're gonna take this 800-page book and they're gonna fucking throw it in the ocean.
Yeah.
And then I am inadvertently contributing to the like Pacific garbage patch.
Yeah.
And I'm no better than any of those environmentalists. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just keep this fucking book because maybe it's a good omen. Maybe, and like I can still read the pages, although with some strain. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just keep it. Maybe it's a good omen. It's weird. It's really bizarre to me.
It is.
Yeah.
This keeps happening to you.
Yeah, and it's all this train, okay? Because it never fucking ends. Once you wake up and you start making connections, all of it just feels so fucking weird, right? So there's that. Okay, I have this whole experience where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to harm the animals in the ocean. I'm sure there's plenty of other ways I'm doing it, but it's not going to be from this 800-page book, the Book of Symbols, okay? Because I'm keeping this motherfucker, and then it took me 20 minutes to go through Amazon support, and I'm like, you know what? I decided I'm going to keep the book. It seems like a good omen. It's only the pages on sex that are fucked up. And the person's like, okay, well, we'll give you $5 as recompense. I was like, oh, sweet. I mean, I made $5. I didn't pollute the ocean. I'm calling this a big win here.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Uh-huh.
There's this specific example of this happening. Then, when I'm like considering symbols and I'm considering what they mean, my girlfriend was talking about how there's like an exhibit that has art in it. And I was doing research on this exhibit that is limited time that we're going to see eventually. And I'm looking at all of the pictures that they have like some previews for some of the stuff in the exhibit. And I'm considering the symbols of it. Like they're talking about how these people were using insects as like alive rather than dead compared to other painters and all this stuff. And then I see this weird bug in one of these paintings and I'm like, what the hell is that? It is the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. And so I look it up and it's called the spotted lanternfly. And I'm like, okay, this seems really strange, but I kind of want to see it living, okay? Because a picture isn't going to do it for me. I want to see this thing move. It seems bizarre. I look it up, and the first video I find is that basically says that there is a plague of these things that is infecting America. Somebody ordered paving stones from China, and it brought over the spotted lanternfly, which has since then been expanding at a rate of 10 miles per year, wiping out apples, grapevines, trees, plants. They're like a pestilence, like
God.
a literal swarm of locusts that kill trees. And what they do is they eat, but their digestive system is so ineffective that they like have to crap constantly, and their crap is called honeydew, and it rains down on the trees and creates mold on the trees, which blocks the tree's ability to gain light through photosynthesis. So it kills the trees outright. Jesus. And so they've spent like more than $30 million of research on how to deal with these things because there's no natural predators in the U.S. ecosystems.
Can they live in snow?
So what happens is they do one brood per year, and they like I guess just hibernate, and then come back in the spring, and the brood hatches or whatever.
You know we have that issue like with Japanese beetles too.
Yeah, but what I didn't realize is that this is projected to have an effect on like the agriculture and farming industry to the effect of like more than $2 billion.
Jesus.
So this is like, and then so I'm reading about these things and I'm like, why have I never heard of this? This is so bizarre. Like they literally say to just go around and kill them if you see them.
Yeah.
Like just straight up, anything you can do
murder.
to wipe them out. And then I was thinking, like, money-making schemes, like, if we could come up with a way to kill these stupid bugs, but we'll go to long-term investment strategies in another podcast. I have a ginseng strategy that's amazing. But I'll forego that. That's a 6-year plan, okay?
You better act now. Someone else is gonna.
You hear this? You start planning your ginseng now. By the time we get to that podcast, you can harvest 100K. 100K in 6 years. Payback. Way better investment. So I'm looking up the lantern, and then the thing that I thought was so coincidentally funny about the lanternfly is that their primary tree that they feed on is called Heaven's Tree. And I was thinking, like, wow, these things are like a swarm of locusts, like a literal cataclysm on agriculture industry that's only growing more and more of a problem every year. And the primary tree that they feed on is called Heaven's Tree, which is also an invasive species from China. And so I was thinking about it and I was like, wow, this is kind of funny, but it's also kind of like the Bible. And so I was looking, and I was like, okay, you have the cataclysms, which are a result of sins, okay? Like, the idea is God brought down these 10 cataclysms against man for how much he was sinning. And then I started thinking about it from the perspective of, like, okay, you have, like, you know, hellfire, the water rising, and all that stuff. And then I was thinking about the concept of sin. And from Salvation Army, I got a random book that I called The Spiritual Journey. And at first I was like, man, this book seems like boring and it's like from a Christian perspective. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get along with the pastor here or whatever. And I'm not really, I don't know, I don't think of myself as particularly religious. And then I flipped to a random page of this fucking book and it says like sex. I noticed the word sex, and so I'm like reading, and this one paragraph, it like sums up what I think is a perfect example of explanation for sex is like people focus on sex as like a high rather than like a bond between two people. Yeah. And I was like, man, I kind of agree with the ideology that people are reducing sex to something that is like abstract and inauthentic. And so I bought the fucking book, and I'm reading this book, and in the book there's like this concept where he talks about sin. And now sin, there's different words for sin in the New Testament and stuff. You'll hear like transgression or iniquity and things like that. But in the actual original Bible, the Old Testament is in Hebrew or Aramaic, and the New Testament is in Old Coin Greek, which is what the original. So they translated it from that, and that's where we get the New Testament, the new King James version Bible. It's all in English or whatever. But in doing that, they rendered some of the words that did mean sin into just sin, whereas there's actually like 20 words that all represent and inflect different things about what the meaning of sin is. Mm-hmm. So like there's like hata or chata in the Old Testament, which means to miss. It's not specifically sin, but they render it as sin in the King James Bible. Mm-hmm. But it means to miss. So like when you consider to miss, like what are you missing? Oh, you're missing like the righteous path of God. You're missing you're missing the mark. Like you're coming short of perfection of the Trinity. Like those sort of things. And then there's also words like hamartia, which in the popular like modern day, because it was used in Shakespeare, usually just means tragic flaw. But in the Bible, it has like a duplicitous, like multiple meanings of like a flaw, but it's also a flaw that's inherent to man in a way, which shows that like people aren't sinners because they sin. They're actually like they're they sin because they're sinners. The reverse is true. And then there's just a whole bunch of words that mean sin. So I was thinking about the conception of sin, okay, and how it relates to the cataclysms that like God rained down on man as like revenge or whatever. And I was like, and then I was thinking about Graham Hancock's his concept of that time isn't linear. That like this concept that man has reached this level of technology or better in previous iterations, but we just die every time. And then I was thinking, what if? Now, hear me out here. What if the sins, these things that we've rendered into just the word sin, what if there's more meaning to the sins in that if you do them, they result in the cataclysm of man? Like the whole idea of the spotted lanternflies coming over to America is just because somebody wanted cheap paving stones, and they're like a blight and they're killing food, and like just this idea that like okay, like man is doing a bunch of things like adverse to nature. So it's not even that like God specifically is raining down fury, but you could consider it from the perspective of nature works in this like way. It works in order like to balance. And if you're like creating an imbalance, which is through sin and our conception of these things that we're doing to transgress God or nature, like there's this idea inherently there that maybe man, in committing these sins, nature is balancing back and creating these cataclysms that are eventually just going to end civilization. Okay, so I'm thinking about all this. And all this is rattling in my brain. It's festering. I feel like I'm getting this weird golden thread, and I just keep pulling it. And I get there. I closer and closer and closer. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this feels really weird. It feels like I was supposed to think about these things, but then at the same time, they feel like epiphanies, even though maybe the epiphany is just, like, stupid. I don't know. But, so I'm pulling this golden thread, and then the next thing that pops in my head, inevitably, is the mark of the beast. And I'm like, okay, I've heard people equate vaccines with the mark of the beast. But I was thinking about the mark of the beast, and I looked it up on Wikipedia, because that's the best source for information.
Obviously.
And the mark of the beast, I haven't read the Bible, so all this is the most shallow possible thing ever. But the mark of the beast is, like, typically 666, okay? There's a whole bunch of other text about it, but the number of Satan is like 666, supposedly. But then I was thinking about this conception from this pastor in this spiritual journey about how all the words that they've rendered into sin actually has a whole bunch of different meanings for sin. Like there are different types of sins. There are different ways you can transgress God. And then in the Wikipedia page for 666, they say, oh, it might actually be 616 because some of the older records they found of the Bible show 616 instead of 666. Okay, and then I was thinking the next thing that popped in my head is gematria. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's this Hebrew, it's this, I don't even know how to say it. It's this Jewish thing where each letter, it has a value. And if you start to take words and take all the values of the letters and you add them together, they relate to other words. Okay, so I looked up the number 616 in the calculator to see what other words of Satan actually correspond. And what do you fucking know?
Beetle.
Satan itself. Tesla Motors, bro.
No. Oh, God.
So, basically, this entire epiphany is just to say that I think Elon Musk is enacting the will of Satan on the world. And that he is to bring about the cataclysm that kills mankind. His transgressions and sins, the sins of Tesla Motors as a company, is contributing to the downfall of man.
Oh my God! I thought you were gonna say like the Beetle, and it was gonna go full circle, but it didn't.
No.
It just went in a straight line.
No, yeah, I followed the golden thread, And you know, it's not, this is right off of all the articles about the Starlink satellites, like, falling to Earth and creating more trash in the fucking water. So, I mean, it's as well as, like, this guy firing off all these fucking things into space near all these animals that are endangered on the beaches of, like, I forget where he's at specifically, but there's, like, a bunch of criticism for Musk and what he's doing, because he just throws money at all this stuff to try to, I don't know,
just make it
have
happen.
a god I don't know. He seems like he wants to do something, but I think he just wants attention. Is what it all is.
Really?
He fails.
I don't know. I don't get that. I feel like the guy wants. I don't know. I like him because he's a entrepreneur. I don't know if you remember this. In middle school, we were forced to watch a video, and the video was of Tesla Motors and his like startup, and the video was only like a few months old whenever we saw it. And it was him like sweating, being like, I don't know, I think we created a good electric car. I really think that these people are going to invest. We're going to make good money, and that this will be the future. And like I remember that interview. But
he's just a hack, because he didn't even create Tesla Motors. Some other guys did, and then he bought it. He didn't even create PayPal.
Yeah.
He's not even a co-owner. He's just some guy from a rich family that has a god complex. And I mean, have you seen him on NFL or SNL? Horrible.
Yeah,
cringe.
It was
It's mega cringe.
I don't know.
So, anyways, I didn't come at this perspective trying to condemn him as Satan. God gave me the answer and told me Tesla Motors is Satan.
There you go.
That is what I. That is,
Jesus.
Well, in the spirit of, you know, the Jewish mysticism that is the gematria, we're gonna also travel down another path. Of Jewish mysticism.
This is an action-packed episode. So
far, honestly, this is a wild ride.
Like you had an existential crisis. I also had an existential crisis.
You were concerned about your life.
My life. But anyways,
a prevalent topic in a lot of our podcasts recently is that you don't have purpose. And so recently, I've found a way to communicate with the occult wisdom and find purpose. Okay. And that is tarot cards. Okay. But I'm not gonna. I know I've been joking about the mysticism thing. Okay. Gods can't be mocked. You will be smited.
Smitten.
It's true. But I want to come at it. Remove all your preconceived notions about tarot.
Okay.
Remove everything from your mind.
I am.
A blank slate.
I find this very easy to do.
Okay.
I do this all the time. I hear someone say something, and I am able to have no reaction. All right. So right now, you want me to just go blank slate?
Blank slate me. Okay.
I'm ready.
You probably think tarot is a prognosticative tool in order to see the future. Okay. I don't think it is. I think that the tarot is just a way of analyzing thoughts. Of learning.
I can agree with this,
Okay, so every card in the tarot represents a force of nature. Now this is specifically, I'm using Thoth's, the Thoth deck made by Aleister Crowley. So it's not your typical tarot deck. Each deck has its own purpose and apparently meaning and how you manage it. And if you go as far as to, I don't know, want to conjure up the demons or something. Make sure you have your quartz in hand. Okay, that's how you diffuse your deck. All right?
I do have my quartz coiled in copper.
Please. That's the only way to discharge the energy from this deck we now have.
Exactly.
But I think viewing it from a perspective that all of these cards do just represent things in nature. They are symbolic of things that exist. For example, there is the card Sorrow, which is something prevalent in nature. There is success, there is failure, there is luxury, there's lust, there is all of these things, and each card represents one of these things. And so you are trying to find your purpose. The nature of your problem is that you need purpose in life. So we're going to use the tarot as a way to think about and analyze what potentially could be your purpose.
I see.
Because the tarot is just a tool to understand yourself. It's also a tool to understand the Jewish Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, potentially. but we're going to consider it from the perspective of just a tool to use to understand things.
I'm
and
ready.
as we go through, you'll see that you can think about these things in interesting ways because of the tarot deck.
Yes.
So, before this podcast, I had my co-host imbue the deck with energy.
That's right.
Okay, he emptied his mind
Uh-huh.
only except for thinking about his purpose in life while he shuffled these cards.
Yes.
Okay, so I hold in my hands that shuffled deck.
Yep.
And the first card that we're going to see as I flip these, this is the ultimate nature of your problem of purpose.
Okay. This is it.
This is the card.
I'm excited now.
The card is the Hierophant.
Okay. Hero fan.
Now, this is a trump card. Okay, there are 22 trump cards in the deck.
So it's not that rare.
It's like a 1 in 4 chance. of it coming up.
Okay.
But this is one of 22. Okay. So
Yeah.
this card represents divine inspiration.
Oh.
So the nature of your purpose has something to do with divine inspiration.
Okay.
If we're taking this as a clairvoyance tool.
Gotcha.
But if we're taking it as an analytical tool, maybe you have to find divine inspiration and wisdom. That is how you find your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now the next card I'm going to reveal is something that adds on to the nature of your problem.
Okay.
So we have here wisdom, occult wisdom,
Okay.
divinity in some aspect. Now this is going to affect and modify it. So we have the Prince of Cups.
Okay.
Now the Prince of Cups is like he's like an ambitious guy.
Okay.
He's seeking. He has negative aspects of himself.
It's got a lot of cups.
Yeah. There are 4 suits. One of them is cups.
Okay.
Yeah, so take that in. Look at that card.
Yeah.
Look at it intentfully.
Uh-huh.
Tell me what you see.
It's definitely, it's a man like riding on a wave being pulled by like an eagle,
Okay.
right? So he has in his hands, he's got a big cup. I would say like it's about the size of a big chug from 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And it's got like a little it looks like a scorpion tail, but it's probably a snake.
Mm-hmm.
And then in his other hand, he has like a brush with a cloud at the end of it.
All right. So now, the Prince of Cups, in summary, I want you to, as I read what his symbolism stands for, I want you to see yourself in him.
Okay.
I want you to consider these aspects of yourself when you think about this.
Okay.
So he represents the airy part of water as he's flying over water on this bird.
Mm-hmm.
He's a young man whose characteristics are subtlety, secret violence, craft, an artist whose calm surface masks intense passion, caring intensely for power and wisdom, and ruthless in his own aims. So he's very ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
He has an intense passion. His calm demeanor masks that intense passion. Okay.
Okay.
Do you see these aspects of yourself in this card?
I would say that I'm calm,
Yeah.
right? The anger part interests me somewhat, right? Because as an angsty young lad,
Yeah.
I not around a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
but around like specifically like my sister. I had a very short temper,
Mm-hmm.
but not so much anymore. So
And now, do you think you have like you're obviously a young man, so this is representative of that.
Yeah.
But also, I'm assuming there's an aspect of you that you can identify with as an artist.
somewhat. I mean, I wrote those. I enjoyed writing the poetry.
Yeah.
Right. I like my limericks.
Mm-hmm.
I like my haikus.
And you've been enjoying the journal writing.
Yeah.
The last thing that we talked about.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's not really. I wouldn't say that's artistic.
Okay.
That's more. I literally kind of just log my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's set that down, and
Yeah.
we're going to see the other nature of your problem.
Okay. So yeah.
This is the other one.
Okay.
This is the Ace of Disc. Okay. It represents wealth.
Uh-huh.
It represents, I guess, here, I'll just read it for you.
Yeah.
So this is material gain, power, labor, wealth, contentment. Materiality in all senses. Okay, so the ultimate nature of your problem is divine wisdom, intelligence, and the things that affect that problem are wealth, material gain, and I'm going to consider this artistry.
Okay.
Maybe the Prince of Cups being like an ambitious fella. And
Yeah.
you are ambitious, you have your own business, and I don't know what your secret violence is, but
Yeah.
I think there's an aspect of this here.
I hope I don't have
And-
a lot
yeah.
of secret violence.
So now we have kind of like what our base for considering things are.
So can I?
Yeah.
All right.
Tell me what you think about these things initially.
Yeah. So the first one, right, divinity.
Yeah.
I think of God.
Okay.
Now, something I've been going through, right, is I've been going to church because I'm getting married. Now, church recently and the classes have been very frustrating to me.
Okay. Why have they been frustrating to you?
So, I feel as though I'm not learning anything, right? We're supposed to be going to these classes to, in the idea of the church, right, is to teach us about God and church, and then whenever we have kids, to teach our kids about that, so we have the answers for them, right? I feel as though I'm learning nothing.
So maybe it's all about the answers rather than the path. It seems to be like maybe part of the problem.
As in,
Like it sounds like the classes are really focused on having answers and not about like just living your life
yeah.
spiritually.
Well, you're basically breaking into like the Bible, right? And you're going like, okay, so what does the God tried to teach you here? And you go like, I think it's this, but if you answer wrong, this is part of my frustration. If you answer wrong, and this is something that has to do with like modern Christianity, right? The guy teaching us is fairly judgmental, and so anytime I've gotten something wrong, he's been kind of, it feels snarky, right? And I'm just trying to answer honestly, which
Yeah.
they told us to do, but in reality, they don't want us to. They want us to answer correctly.
Yeah, they just want to hear their own thoughts is kind of what it is.
Yeah, they want to make sure that you are repeating back what they told you.
If you don't echo their sentiment of
Yes.
what they believe this means,
Yep.
then you're in opposition.
You need to memorize the answers to the math test, so once the math test is over, you can forget about it.
Yeah.
Rather than learning how to do it. That's what it feels like, right? So I've had a lot of frustration about church and stuff as recently. And then I guess the secret anger could be that, right? Because
This intense passion below you that you need to co-op with.
as in like, well, so I've been lacking that, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like I need to do something,
Yeah.
right?
It's worth considering that the Hierophant also represents endurance and persistence, as well as inspiration.
I've been going even though I don't want to.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
That's an easy one.
You know, you've
right,
been
but-
walking even though you don't want to walk.
Yes. Yeah, and then as for the disc thing, right? I mean, I got a new car coming in that I don't necessarily need. I could have
Yeah.
went with a cheap used car or whatever, right? But I was like, oh, I'll get a new one. And like a lot of it because of weddings coming up, a lot of stuff has been about money, right? Because you got to get a haul, you got to get, all that junk. So, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So maybe in a way we can think about the nature of your problem and finding a purpose in your life as you need to find ambition. You need to be this Prince of Cups. You need to have that sort of intense passion
Yeah.
that hides your secret violence. Maybe materials and other things are also the nature of your purpose in life. And by accruing certain materials, you can have your purpose in life.
Could you also interpret that as less materials?
It could be.
By having less material.
Well, I would say here, the Ace of Discs specifically represents like an abundance in a way.
Whenever you said it, I was thinking I have too many things.
Oh, interesting. That's it. Yeah,
See?
that is worth considering. Okay, so we're only 3 cards in. We have another 3 sets of 3 to go through.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I'll just lay them out, and then we're going to take them. I'm going to tell you what is supposed to appear in the reading, and then we're going to talk about the relationships between them and what they mean.
Okay.
Okay, so in the top right is going to appear a potential future.
Ooh.
Okay. In the top left is going to appear either an alternate future or a future that adds or modifies onto the primary future. In the lower left are your tools to go about solving your problem.
Okay.
Okay. And then in the lower right are forces outside your control that you can adapt to.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to reveal them steadily, and you can just react as
Okay.
it happens. So our first one is fortune in the
so
top right.
Future.
Yeah,
All
future.
right.
Alternate future is the Knight of Disc.
lot of
Potential
discs.
tool is art.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. And then a force outside your control is oppression. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now we're going back top to the future. The second thing is the Magus. Magus? The Magus.
The magic.
Which is other interesting thing. The alternate future is the Tower, which you can see fire and flames and pain.
Yep.
Potential second tool is completion. That's
Ooh.
interesting. Force outside your control is the Knight of Cups rather than the Prince of Cups.
Wow.
The Star is a part of your alternate. Honestly, it's really weird to have all trump cards in your. We'll get into it. But
Yeah.
it's really bizarre.
Uh-huh.
Next thing is sorrow in your potential alternate future.
Uh-huh.
Final tool is the universe. Wow, this is interesting.
Damn.
And then force outside your control is the hermit.
I always liked the Hermit and the Tower. I didn't know what tarot cards were, but I always liked the art for the Tower and the Hermit.
Well, this is perfect because we got quite a bit to look at here.
Dude, I mean, like, all right, so we have the Ace of Discs, which is, like, in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And that is, like, money,
Yeah.
kind of,
Mhm.
right? And then we also have Fortune for the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
So fortune is generally good fortune, is what
Yeah.
it typically
Well,
represents.
I mean, whenever you say fortune, it
Yeah.
usually, I think no matter what, it's always positive. right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
So, and then you also have right next to it in your future is the Magus, or
Uh-huh.
the Magus. And he represents skill, wisdom, elasticity, craft, which is kind of interesting considering, we have this material gain for purpose. We have this secret, like, intense passioned artist in your, like, amendment to divine wisdom.
Yeah.
And we can now consider that maybe, as well as the star in your future. The star is this, like, dreamy illusion, sort of. It could be positive or negative. They all have this dichotomous nature.
Yeah.
But it typically, it could mean hope, unexpected help, clarity of vision, spiritual insight, all of these things.
Gotcha.
So, in your future, we have good fortune, spiritual insight, and, like, learning, wisdom,
So potentially,
elasticity, yeah.
right? Potentially, oh, this goes back to church, right?
Yeah.
Maybe something like while I'm at church in the future, in the near future. Is this near future or close future?
I don't know. If we're using it as a clairvoyant tool instead of an analytical tool, it could be either.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, so what this could mean is that I will figure out, and maybe I will accept the class and be like, oh, you know what? It is good, or
Yeah,
what?
maybe
you know.
you'll read something that that you can utilize.
Yeah.
As well as now in our alternate future, we have sorrow,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty straightforward. I
Yeah.
think we can relate to that.
Uh-huh.
The Knight of Disc, which is a dull, laborious man. He's somebody who works. He's very patient.
Okay.
Then we have the Tower. So, like, what do you see when you look at the Tower?
Let me pick that puppy up. You got an eyeball, and you got, like, it almost looks like either crabs or, like, people with only legs.
Okay.
Like, kind of getting sucked into what looks to be the tower.
Yeah, it looks pretty dangerous, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That's the initial impression.
I wouldn't want to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it means quarrel, combat, danger, ruin, destruction of plans, and it could also mean sudden death as well.
Gotcha. So, I see two futures.
Yeah.
Right?
I do see two contrasting futures here.
Yes. So either I figure out what's going on in church, or I don't.
Yeah.
And I have a sad, bad future full of ruin where I just work a normal job and is very dull.
Yeah. It seems to me that you can consider how these contrast. You either utilize this hope and divine inspiration and good fortune to figure out the nature of finding your purpose in life. Or the alternate, the potential things to consider are sorrow. You will be filled with sorrow, grief. You will be dull. though patient and laborious, dull, and then you will bring about ruin and destruction.
So what I see there is that someone dies, I'm sad, and then I use that sadness to just get a boring job. I give up on my hopes, right? And then I move to just live life like work in a toll booth.
It's true. And so now the tools that we have to go about solving your problem of purpose and to consider are art.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty interesting. Completion. I can understand completion in relation to art.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to complete something artistic. As well as the universe, which is just all-encompassing. It sort of just means literally the essence of the question itself. The end of matter. Synthesis. This idea that you need to do something.
Uh-huh.
What this tells me is that you got to think. And you got to think hard about your purpose in life, but that it could potentially, using the tool of art, completing art, and drawing inspiration from the universe, you can cultivate that into not only the nature of your purpose of using wealth to find purpose, to find divine wisdom, to be this artist, but you can also lead to this future instead of the alternate future of sorrow, dullness, and ruin.
Uh-huh.
The future of hope and good fortune.
I need to finish art.
There's got to be something there.
Yeah, I have to finish art.
There's got to be something you want to do, and that'll be.
There's a bunch of stuff, Yeah,
there's got to be something you got to think about completing something.
Mm-hmm.
That is a tool you can use, and you can draw from the universe. You got the whole universe to draw from.
Exactly.
And you just got to make something. You got to combine things together to do something. Now, let's finally look at the things outside your control.
Yeah.
Right? You have oppression. You're going to be oppressed for whatever you're doing.
Okay.
Whatever thing you decide to do, you will be oppressed and you're going to have to adapt to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then there's the hermit, which is this withdrawal from everything else.
Yeah.
It could be illumination from within as well.
Okay.
This idea that you withdraw from other people in order to cultivate what is completing your art, which draws from the universe to find your purpose in life, to have good fortune.
Yeah.
And then we have the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups also works alongside. I mean, it's kind of interesting that we got the Prince of Cups for the part of the nature of your problem, but now we have a force outside your control that you have to adapt to, which is the Knight of Cups. So I'm going to read that, which is represents the fiery part of water. A man who is a graceful dilettante, amiable in a passive way, quick to respond to attraction, and easily enthusiastic. Exceedingly sensitive, but with little depth of character.
So some mega chad's gonna come by.
I think maybe these cards, you got to look internally. So
Gotcha.
Do you see yourself in any way as a man who is graceful, amiable in a passive way, quick to respond to attraction and easily enthusiastic, but exceedingly sensitive with little depth of character? Do you think that you don't have depth of character?
I think I have some depth of character. I feel every once in a while, right? I feel very flat.
Yeah.
Because I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. So
right?
In a way, this is the force you have to adapt to, because the nature of your problem is purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that adds depth of character
Mm-hmm.
in a way. So I would say even just doing something here would adapt to completing your purpose in life.
So I need to find something with depth.
I don't even think it has. I think you will inevitably get depth.
Yeah.
Through these things, through considering the universe, completion, and art.
So I need to meditate more.
Maybe.
And complete some kind of art.
So we've been playing with these cards as a form of...
find purpose.
We've been playing with these cards as a testing of the future. But I think the best way to utilize them is to just consider the concepts. How does art result in the end goal of good fortune?
I have the happier... Good fortune doesn't... I mean, you can take it literally as in money.
Yeah.
But as a person, right, it's satisfying to complete something. Mm-hmm. And that would be fortune of, me being happy, right? That's fortune within itself, right? Mm-hmm. So we could take it that way.
We can also consider that, like, doing art gives you purpose and thus results in hope.
Yeah.
The star.
Yeah.
Even, like, you could utilize divine wisdom from the universe, gain your inspiration, and use that to... I mean, we can see the effect of that in unexpected help, good fortune, wisdom. We can see how wisdom is cultivated through completing things. Because if you do a bunch of stuff and then you fail and then you don't complete it, you don't really learn anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to fail to be able to progress. That is just the nature of wisdom. You have to be a fool, essentially. Yeah. And we can also see how these things correlate. Like, okay, let's consider completion in the nature of finding your purpose. Okay, your goal is to find purpose. A tool you can do that is completion. Okay, how does not completing things as a purpose result in sorrow? Like, I'm sure if you had things that you wanted to complete, but you didn't.
never did.
Yeah, you never did, then you would be... It would be damage against yourself, essentially, because it's something you said you'd do and you wouldn't, so you'd feel sorrow. You could be laborious in nature, but you could still feel the sorrow of that.
Yeah.
And as well as you could fall to ruin, but you could also get to ruin if you don't try anything as well.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. If you want to add the magic to it, it says that if you have a majority of trump cards, that there are forces, divine forces, that are affecting you. And you have a majority trump cards in here.
I do.
So
I'm going to take a picture of it.
Yeah, do it.
I'm going to put this in the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There we go.
We can clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
But I think as an analytical tool, if you consider each of these cards as a force of nature, it's really interesting to consider, like, essentially what you have in the top rows, you have your futures, but there are just contextual situations.
Yeah.
And those contextual situations are created by 3 cards each.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a problem, which is defined by 3 cards.
Yep.
Then you have tools, which are defined by 3 cards.
Yep.
And then you have forces to adapt to. It's kind of like a game, almost.
Yeah.
Like, you think about and analyze how these things affect all of these other things.
You ever play Super Fight?
No.
Okay, it's a game where you make your own monster.
Okay.
Right? And so it's just made up, it's a bunch of junk, right? So you could have, like, lightsaber Godzilla and, like, a rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Okay, and you would put those cards down, you would describe how those 3 things beat someone else's 3 things.
Yeah.
Right? In a weird way, right? We're using the tools and, like, the core problem to say, like, we can use this to beat that or whatever in a weird, backwards kind of way,
I
right?
understand, yeah.
Yeah, because you said game, and I was like, oh, that is kind of...
It is like a game. I mean, in the sense that you're laying out these cards, obviously, with your divine shuffling.
Yeah.
And all the power that you channeled into them.
Yeah.
But also just as I'm thinking about these concepts, and I need to analyze these concepts in relation to each other.
Yeah, I mean, like, the first card, honestly, the Divinity one, right, it's been something that's been bothering me the last few weeks, right, is going to church and, like, not liking it, right?
Yeah, maybe in that way, maybe it's a question of your purpose. Is your purpose divinity? Mm-hmm. Maybe.
It could be.
Is your purpose divinity with material, like, gain? Like, you've expressed an opinion that you don't think materialism and money is, like, it doesn't matter to you.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other things that are greater than money to you.
Yeah.
As well as, like, this ambitious character, these aspects that you potentially see in yourself, but maybe these aren't you. And maybe that explains your purpose. Maybe you don't identify with the secret, passionate artist.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. I wouldn't say that I've never done art, really. You know what I mean? So maybe I need to try it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the poetry you wrote was an aspect of you expressing yourself artistically.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't think you do.
No, and I think that it put me in a good mood, honestly, writing all that. Because I was all stressed out before, because I failed to realize it was Valentine's Day. And so after writing the poetry, I'm like, I got this, you know. So in a way, Maybe I need to do more artistic things.
Yeah, maybe art is the thing that you're lacking in purpose.
That could, yeah. Yeah, because my job's very straightforward.
Yeah, it's very left brain.
Yeah.
It's all
Logic.
rationality and logic.
Yeah.
You need
So.
a balance by having the creative right brain go free.
I do. I need to flex the right side of my brain.
It's true. You got to do reps on the right side of your brain.
That's right. But yeah, damn, dude. It's
Yes.
pretty good.
It's interesting. I've had a lot of fun with it. Obviously, it's really abstract, and you only get
Yeah.
out of it what you
Want.
feel and put in. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a-
Well, and like right? Because I find it kind of funny that like we have one good side and one bad side for
Yeah.
the futures,
Mhm.
and then like, you know, like what would you use the Knight of Cups for as like a tool, right? You'd have to like really look into it.
Yeah.
Same with like you could use the Hermit as a tool,
Mhm.
like withdraw into yourself to
And find inspiration. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, it's kind of interesting how you can almost spin any card as anything.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
And it's also a way to think about these concepts that you wouldn't otherwise think about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody sits down and they're like, all right, here's like a bunch of sets of things that I'm going to consider in contextual situations and figure it out. Like,
yeah.
it really just is the tarot is a tool in order for you to be able to think about things and contemplate them.
Kind of like it's just like an exercise.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is like
It's
a
a brain
mental
exercise.
exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna consider the tarot to give you brain reps.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is.
Now I'm gonna get a deck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing some brain.
Start reading it every day. Sit down and consult with the divine wisdom of the tarot.
I wake up at like 4 a.m. I gotta go to
Yeah.
work at like 6. I'm like, I gotta get my brain reps in.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I also think some of this is interesting. I mean, if you ascribe some of the aspects of like, okay, what are the odds of this happening? Like, it's odd to me that you got art, completion, and the universe all as your tools.
Yeah.
Like, I consider art to be something that draws inspiration from the universe, and it has to be completed at some point, whether
Yeah.
it's by your death or otherwise. Like, it will find its end.
Mhm.
Art is never something that can't be completed.
Yeah.
I mean, you can not complete it, but seldom are there things that are long lasting when it comes to it.
Yeah. I mean, like complete is a good one for tools, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like you can
Finish your shit, bro.
Yeah, just get it done.
How does finishing my shit bring me good fortune?
Yeah. Wait a second.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
Oh, I finally get it. I haven't thought for the last 26 years of my life.
My brain's been turned off.
Yeah. I've been sleepwalking this entire time.
Punching lamp. I need to finish the lamp.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The
It's
lamp from a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
It was still dangling by a thread. I need to go back and cut
Yeah.
the cable.
You gotta cut it. That's where your life stopped. It was that moment.
There it is. I don't know. I think we still. Well, how much?
We got like 23 minutes left.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we
I
got
figured.
time.
It didn't
Yeah.
feel like we
No,
were close
I was
to
just curious because I was like, I wonder how much the tarot reading takes.
I had like a existential crisis.
Yeah.
Like as you were doing your ramble, I was like, wait a second. I need to make sure that the thing's recording. And like I like peeked over, I saw the red, I'm like, that's probably it.
Yeah,
We're good.
We're good. It's on.
Because imagine that if like my Valentine's Day and you're like
Weird. Yeah. Elon Musk is Satan.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Come on.
if that wasn't recorded,
Mhm.
where would we be?
Honestly.
We would have to restart. We'd be like, what do we even talk about now?
Yeah, we've already talked about all the important stuff.
Exactly.
Well,
there? Yeah.
Yeah. What else do you want to talk about?
I don't know, man. I was gonna ask you the same thing, honestly. I like these tarot cards.
Yeah, they're interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
The
Yeah.
yeah, the person that I saw have them or use them recently had crow ones.
Oh,
So
interesting.
they're all crows. So
Interesting and boring at the same time.
really,
I like the diversity of art here. I mean,
I
this
did-
dude literally slave drove this woman into drawing these cards. Like, this guy was like, dude, I see these visions in my head, and you need to... I can't draw. but you need to materialistically
God.
perfect them over the course of like years. And so he'd be like, no, this is wrong, you gotta change it. And just over and over and over and over again until we have, you know, these cards.
Jesus, yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, even the history perspective of it, regardless of what you think of.
Yeah. What got you into this?
This is all another aspect of symbolism,
Yeah.
right? Because each card, though we're just considering the names of them, the pictures do like imbue and have a lot of symbolism in it. I mean, you innately look at these and you think of something, regardless of whether, you know, it's codified in your hereditary line. I don't know, but just the concept of like, okay, let's consider fortune for a second. Fortune is represented by a wheel, and there's 3 animals that represent different gods, Hindu gods specifically, and how they affect the wheel of fortune. But fortune as a wheel, it always turns. Like you're gonna have good fortune and bad. It's an up and down. There are things that can change it, things that can amend it, but it's always constantly turning.
Yeah.
Essentially. So even just that as a concept, then you can start to consider other things. Like I really like the card Death because it's a picture of a skeleton using a scythe and he's cutting the threads, and these threads are creating new like weird forms of, it's almost like he's separating the thread to create new like fabric essentially. Because death isn't really just an end, it's also like a beginning. I mean, in a way, life has to die in order to begin again. I mean, people eat things that we kill, eat plants and stuff like that, and all of that continues to engender our lives in a way. And even in ecosystems, like an animal dying and decomposing is food for a whole wide variety of things, as well as including the plants eventually as it deteriorates into the earth.
Flies eat it, make babies. Babies make food for, you know,
anything else.
Birds. Yeah.
It really just continues to keep the entire machine of life going, essentially. And so, in trying to understand symbolism, I thought, what a great idea is to take these cards that all represent forces of nature and begin to understand them.
Yeah.
To look at them and see how I feel about them. I kind of characterize them in a way, like, as, like, you know, they are individual concepts, but they could also be, like, people in this idea of, like, how do I relate to them? How do I relate to art or completion or the universe? And it's not even just a matter of like trying to find like, oh, I'm going to tell my future. It's more like you look at these things, every card, every picture, understand the symbolism in it, and see how that symbolism also belies other secrets, other things about how those concepts are. Like, I think a trivial understanding of death is that it is an end. People fear death because they don't want to die because they consider it an end. Yeah. But then there's like concept of like, okay, death as a beginning, all matter, it never is destroyed, like it all exists. So like in a way, even though you've dissolved, you potentially are still there, just in a different form. Yeah. It's not necessarily reincarnation so much as it is, I mean, that depends on your belief at that point religiously, whether you believe in an afterlife or immortal soul or any of that.
You're going to be a rock,
Yeah, but it is interesting to consider, you know, how you feel about these things and what other information there is. I mean, there are positive aspects to sorrow. Sorrow could be clarity. You have to feel pain in order to learn things. I think people that suffer find epiphanies within the suffering. Like, if you suffer, you begin to understand internally more about yourself. Like, if you are sick, why are you sick? What does that say about sickness? What does that say about life? What does that say about the fragility of life? Yeah. Like, maybe you need to, if you get really sick and almost die, that could potentially be the wake-up call that sorrow then spawns into an epiphany that makes you live more than you've lived previously. Yeah. I mean, doing the things that society expects of you and wants you to do isn't really living. Like, this idea of, and this even goes into the Bible as well, this concept of, like, trying to sate the flesh. Like, all your investment in the flesh doesn't really matter because you're going to eventually die. Yeah. So what does matter? I mean, where do you find the meaning in life? And I don't know. If anything, it does go really deep in those aspects, but also to consider the symbolism and how it means to you. I think is a better way. Before language, there was symbols. So, what are these things that innately we feel specifically about that we can't conceptualize now because language has usurped the symbols?
Yeah.
We come in contact with them all day, every day, but we don't really think about what they mean in the grander scheme of things. As well as, like, even simple things like that I find really interesting is Rudolf Steiner's anthroposophy. He was talking about in the Essentials of Education this dichotomy between the sun and the moon and how they relate to plants, in that we seem to understand plants and we seem to understand how they work, but we don't consider them in the holistic concept of the sun and the moon. Like, the sun is radiant and the plants open up when they see the sun. They are photosynthesizing and gaining energy and stuff like that, but they also are radiating outward. And then the moon follows shortly after that. And then there's this withdrawal, this coldness, there's not warmth. And so a plant does grow in forms of radiance and compression in a way, like contraction. Like it does when it's bright. And obviously not every plant follows that same, but there is that ideology there that the sun and moon do in some way affect everything.
Yeah.
And how they all relate. So considering all this stuff together then is, I don't know, just really interesting to me.
It is.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I know, sorry.
That's been your life for
Yeah.
You've been waiting for this.
It was weird because, I don't know, it seems like such a simple question, but it's like, as I read more and more, I start to understand, like, okay, these symbols do matter, and they're significant, but I don't know enough about them and how they relate.
Yeah.
And I can't communicate in them. It's like a lost art to me.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
And to be a more effective artist, you have to know the language of symbols.
That makes sense. Now, speaking of symbols, you've been keeping track of your dreams.
I have, yes.
And this is something I wanted to talk about last time, but I completely forgot, and so I wrote it down. Man.
Yeah, so I heard that dreams matter, and so I started keeping a dream journal. I haven't had that many dreams, actually. I believe you dream every night, but the only time I remember my dreams is if I'm woken up out of REM sleep. Like,
yeah, I feel the same way, because I will... The most vivid dreams for me are, I woke up, I fell back asleep, and then woke up 5 minutes later, and in that 5 minutes, I had, like, a fantastical journey.
Yeah, and so I think, as I consider more of Jung's theories and stuff like that, of the unconscious and the conscious, and as I consider symbolism as well, I'm starting to consider that maybe there's symbolism in dreams.
Yeah.
And there is consistent dreams across multitudes of people, which seems really bizarre, because you would think, like, I thought dreams didn't matter, so why are people having consistent things in dreams? Like, why are they seeing consistent things?
Yeah.
And I think it is a way for the unconscious to communicate to the conscious while you're asleep, while you're unconscious. Or rather, your subconscious to communicate to the conscious.
Yeah.
So I just started keeping track of them because I was like, well, I haven't delved into all the understanding and symbolism in dreams yet, because I'm just going down symbolism for the conscious people first, trying to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I'll go down the symbolism in dreams route. But I figured I might as well start keeping track of them so that when I do go down that route, I'll have something to pull from.
Yeah.
And I suppose the weird thing I noticed is that although the dreams seem really strange, I noticed that there are, like, for me, there are consistencies between them depending on how I feel the following day as well.
Yeah.
But, like, majority of my dreams have animals in them, and specifically 2 pairs of animals. Like, it's always comes in pairs for whatever reason. Like, this last dream I had, I'll just read you what I wrote down since it's kind of short.
Yeah.
So, there's a crowd gathered outside of a restaurant. My family is waiting outside with the crowd, and they're distraught and awaiting information. Myself and a girl who I don't know, but is a police officer, go to investigate. Okay. Uh-huh. So the restaurant's cleared out, but we managed to witness what I think are 2 beavers or wombats going into the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we're tailing on the end of them.
Yeah.
So I open the door and I see blood underneath one of the stalls, and I nope out.
Yeah.
I don't deal with it. I'm like, bro, I'm not
None
fighting
of
the
that.
wombats.
Yeah.
I turn to the girl and I'm like, you got a gun. This is your problem. Okay.
Wow.
Go shoot these these beaver wombats. Okay. It's not my problem. I walk back outside of the family, walk out to my family, and the young girl's with me. And then there's the news. The chief officer tells us that someone died today, and it was related to inaction, and that person was apparently related to my family.
Oh.
And my family is like distraught, and the girl that was with me is distraught as well.
Wow.
I thought that was really strange, but maybe my unconscious is trying to tell me that I'm just not acting enough. Maybe I gotta be more courageous and ambitious, and I gotta fight fucking wombats if I see them. I gotta beat their ass.
Here you are being like, I shouldn't pollute, when in reality,
Yeah.
you need to kill more
Yeah,
animals.
maybe I should take this 800-page book of symbols and go to my local zoo and beat the shit out of some beavers and wombats. Maybe that's what I need to do.
There you go.
And then even my previous dream, I was having a conversation with a girl in a classroom, and we were like talking about insurance or something. And as I was talking to her outside, I see a pair of like animals, which I think are two cats running. And and I'm like, why does this come in pairs for me? What is it with? And then okay, so we can go even deeper with this. So I read a little bit of like the beginning of the books for tarot and stuff like that, and it wants you to consider numbers not just as stationary things that proceed in sequence one after another, but as concepts.
Yeah.
Okay. And like the number 1 is like unity as a concept. It's like position. Okay. But it isn't until 2 that you can begin to draw a line between two things.
Yeah.
That you can begin to see how things relate to each other.
Yeah.
And then when you get to 3, like 3 as a concept is you can finally understand the approximate distance between two things because you have something in reference to those two things.
Yeah.
So you can begin to see the perspective of it. It's almost like dimensions as well.
Yeah.
And then like you consider 2 as like a concept of like, okay, like man and woman need to come together to procreate. It's the same thing for most of the animal kingdom aside from like a few weird animals that do weird shit.
Yeah. You like...
Yeah.
So, I mean, like... Yeah, I mean, you could look at it and be like, it literally could just be your brain going like, we like things in pairs. Like, do you like, if you have one object, I don't know, this is kind of, it's just dumb, but like, okay, if you were to eat fruit, like something small, like cherries, and you saw 2 on a pair.
It's more visually appealing, yeah.
But would you eat both of them?
That's a good question. I guess the question is, am I struggling with something that's duplicitous in nature?
Yeah.
Like, is there, like, a problem with this dichotomy of 2s for me?
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot about now the sun and the moon.
Yeah.
And I think a lot about day and night. And then I think a lot about consciousness and unconsciousness.
It literally could just be that you think a lot about these things.
It very well could be.
There's always 2 for you.
It's 2. Maybe the answer for me is 2. Maybe there's something to do with animals and 2.
Yeah.
Maybe the thing that I try to fight in myself, this animalistic nature, this pursuit of pleasure that I use to dull myself. There's a duplicitous nature to it. Maybe there's something I'm not considering in that vein.
On, off, yeah.
Yeah, on, off. Maybe like, maybe I need to view it as like a double-edged sword. Like I do see that in a way, like this concept of, okay, you could expel all your sexual energy. Like, let's consider the Tantra and consider Eastern thought that semen is your life force. Like, the ability to be able to create life and you just expend it through masturbation. So, in that way, what if it's a double-edged sword? What if they're right and you can actually channel it up the spine?
Yeah.
And what if it can be used for a different purpose? Your energy. This energy that in some ways I just throw away.
even you just saying "what if" is
Yeah.
two different things, because we have one thing,
Yeah.
but what if
Yeah,
a
it's true.
second thing?
There's another nature. Maybe I need to learn to use it as a weapon. Maybe I need to learn to use it in a productive way.
You kind of are, just by doing this.
I would say, yeah, I think about, but there's a lot more to be done.
There is.
There's so much to be done.
Jesus.
I feel like you got to end talking about something. I talk too much this episode.
Oh, you're all good. Well, you've been deep in the symbols.
Yeah, I've been deep in the symbols.
Oh, you know what we gotta talk about?
What?
We got this friend, right? Let's just call him Billy. And so he had brought up, we were all talking, with friends and stuff, and he was like, "Yo, you need to make a podcast."
It was honestly just a hilarious thing.
It was like, yeah.
It was the ultimate irony, because we haven't told anyone that we're doing, because this podcast lives or dies in the American public, okay? I will get no success from the help of my friends. This is all distinctly our own natural forces at play here.
Yeah.
I'm going to channel the occult wisdom of the tarot to gain success.
I had this idea.
Yeah.
That we could pull a prank here.
Okay.
We wait till episode 100.
Okay.
And so we wait for episode 100. We call him on the phone, be like, "Yeah, so we got we're on episode 100 of Roving Slant.
Oh, that would be a great idea.
You're our first guest." I don't know where we could go from there, but I feel like we need to like call him and literally just be like, "Yeah, it's episode 100."
Honestly, that would be amazing. I think you would find that hilarious. Maybe we should project. How long do you think it'll take till we get to episode 100?
I don't know, a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think a couple weeks.
Yeah, we've been cranking these things out. I mean, I've seen you last 4 days? It hasn't even been 12 hours.
Yeah, no. Bro, we do this every hour on the hour. Tarot readings for the next 90 episodes.
Whenever I say that you have been waiting on these symbols, it's been 40 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
You thought of all of that.
Yeah.
Within 40 minutes.
Yeah. I read books in between casts.
Yeah.
And then we talk about it.
He's speed reading while I stare at paint.
I just flip the pages and I pick out words that stand out to me. And that's what I think the book means.
That's how you picked out that one book. You're like, sex. Okay.
Honestly, it is. I skimmed the book and I saw sex and I was like, this speaks to me. And then I started reading and I was like, this speaks to me. So I paid the 25 cents for it, brought it home. I'm 100 pages in, and I'm like, this made me think about things in an interesting way. I don't agree with everything, but it is interesting.
That's something I've been noticing, right? I think we talked about this before, but I don't have, opinions, generally.
Yeah.
Or I do.
They're just flexible.
I'm very open to others' opinions.
Would you say, the prince of, the elasticity of your... Back to the tarot for a moment?
In my reading, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, literally, someone could bring up something with, politics or whatever. I am more than welcome. Anything.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. Where did we talk about?
Well, you were talking about how you're a supporter, right? You're a supporter of any opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy. I love it when people have opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, more of my friends have strong opinions than people who don't. Anybody who has a weak, I don't know, yeah, that's fine. Like me,
yeah,
I don't think I
could see that magnetism making sense though, right? People with strong opinions just want to hear themselves.
Yeah.
So, and I feel, if anything, I'm trying to break all these strong opinions by looking into weird stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes it fails. And other times it succeeds.
It's not just, it's
I don't want to be in an echo chamber. But then the downside of that is I have to learn about everything in order to...
Yeah, but that's kind of the fun part. Like for me, like I love learning about someone's random opinion. I'll be like,
Mhm.
oh, this guy's just gonna tell me about,
The crystal that you put the copper around.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's true.
I'm here for it. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Open mind completely. I'll go make a crystal at home.
Yeah.
Sure.
Tell me how to do it.
Yeah.
Where's the guidebook, bro?
We'll see if this works.
Yeah.
Give me the manifesto.
I'll read a couple pages.
Yeah, dude. Do you want to open our food?
Yeah, honestly, maybe we should end it with the food.
Yeah. What should we? We shouldn't say what this is.
Yeah, you can say what it is. Come
Yeah?
on. Yeah. I mean, tell me how it relates to your inner history. How do you feel about this particular product?
Okay. So this product is fruit by the foot.
Yeah.
Now, growing up, never really. We weren't a fruit by the foot family. We were a fruit roll up family.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
big difference.
Is there heresy between them?
No.
No?
I kind of was jealous of the fruit by the foot folks. So, if you're looking at the nutrient facts, they're
Yeah.
not good for you.
I was gonna summarize since I talked about salt, sugar, fat.
Yeah.
This is literally 17% sugar,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that are inside of it are just a bunch of chemicals.
Yes.
Is essentially what it is.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any fruit, right? There's
No.
no ingredients.
Actually, there is vitamin C.
Oh, sick.
10% of it is vitamin C. So they did it.
Oh, wait. Isn't that 10% of your daily value?
Yeah, 9 milligrams.
That's terrible.
It says on the box above the nutrition facts, good source of vitamin C. But you'd have to eat 10 of these.
Yeah, to get your,
to get
yeah.
your daily amount.
God. Yeah, because usually in artificial junk, they have vitamin C, right? Because
Yeah.
what gives you vitamin C? Like oranges?
Yeah.
That's like about
I
it.
feel like
right?
it's got to be the easiest thing to add into there that doesn't affect taste,
Yeah.
right?
Well, so, I mean, like, everybody knows what this tastes like.
Yeah, it tastes like sugar.
Mm.
I guess, how would you rate the sugar that you're eating?
Oh.
Does it feel different than others? I mean, this is a vessel with which you can get the sugar in your mouth.
Yeah. Now, something interesting. This tastes thinner than it used to be.
I think it is thinner.
Who makes this?
That's a good question. What company owns Fruit by the Foot?
Betty Crocker. That's my guess. Because, like, they own the fruit roll-up. and
General
everything's the same.
Mills, bro.
Damn it.
I mean, they could be all under the same conglomerate, though.
Probably. But isn't fruit roll-up, isn't that... I don't know. But, yeah, man. Yeah, it says General Mills on the back of the pen.
Maybe we should consider the fruit roll-up as a symbol. What is this symbol? It's got to be like a wheel, right?
No.
It's like linear.
You were saying death was cutting some strings?
Yeah.
This is a strand.
But this also represents death, right? Because it's just sugar. It could potentially be cardiovascular problems in the future if you use this as your source of vitamin C.
As I devour it.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting, right? Is that there were those people that would just like unroll it and then like wad it up in a wad. I always found that interesting because if you do that, it's much more satisfying to eat.
Mm.
This is something I talked to my fiance about, right? Me personally, for something to be satisfying to eat, it has to cover all of my taste buds, right? So I eat fast and I eat like big bites, right? Because I want to like have it flow over my tongue. Like, oh, I taste the whole thing everywhere.
Yeah.
Something that's very unsatisfying for me is something small, right? Like if I eat something small and like not very flavorful, right? I don't really care about the subtle flavors or whatever. I just want something that coats my tongue that I can swallow. So like to me eating this very slowly is not very satisfying. I'm just getting calories.
Yeah. So you gotta pull it apart and eat it like a uncivilized barbarian is what you need to do. Yeah, as fast as possible. Covering the entire tongue.
Yeah. Didn't they used to print stuff on the back of the wrapper?
I think that cost too much ink.
Yeah, they've really cut back. It's like half the.
Where's the fun?
Yeah. Isn't that like on the box? Like there's something about fun on there?
Do they advertise fun? I'm gonna complain.
Excuse me, General Mills, you advertised fun on Fruit by the Foot, but notice there wasn't any?
It does say just fruit-flavored snack.
I guess.
And it says that obviously the pictures are enlarged to show detail.
Yeah.
They're not actually that size.
That's true. What fruit does this taste like?
Honestly, there's 3 different flavors. I think I got... I don't know. There's like a dull color here. I can't tell if it's red or like pink or...
I mean, mine's like 100%. It does have the wrapper. On the wrapper, there's a flavor name. I ripped mine, so I don't know what it says.
Mine says look for flavor here, and it's pointed at nothing.
There's like a little printed thing, no?
I think this is
a scam product.
Yeah, this is a scam, bro. What? Why did I buy this shit?
Yeah, what are you doing?
But it has a symbol. No.
You bought it because you're like, wow, this represents life. And how somebody's just eating it up, okay? And eventually you're going to get to the end. And then all that's going to be left is the transcripts represented by paper. That someone's just going to throw away eventually.
Yeah, this is just extra unnecessary trash that's going to enter the garbage.
You know what this paper is? You know at the doctor's office how they roll it over the... That's what this paper is. It's the same paper. General Mills is like, how else can we affect children? Let's go ahead and put that on the table. Oh, I scheduled a hearing appointment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that? You think you're hearing less?
Mm-hmm. There's something wrong. Like, I was talking to a guy, last week, and, like, I just could not hear him. And I never had a problem hearing him. So either he was talking very quietly, or I'm just going deaf, right?
Might just need to get your ears clean.
That's what I'm thinking. So I'm getting a hearing test administered, and then they're going to look in my ear. So.
Wow.
Yeah, but so this is my last year of free insurance. And so I'm like, wow. Or last actually few months of free insurance. So. Oh yeah, dude, how do you feel? Do you feel older?
Yeah, I do. I feel older. And this is technically my last time with free insurance as well.
Shouldn't have already expired?
Technically, I think there's some clause where I have some coverage of some things, but other things not.
Gotcha. So yeah, you gotta get insurance soon.
Yeah, or just continue investing in myself in a different way. You could pay the man, or you could become the hermit.
That's right.
You could do push-ups every day.
Look,
and be so healthy that you have no reason to go to the doctor.
Here's what you gotta do. Hear me out on this one, right? Take out a credit card.
Okay.
Okay? Put the insurance on the credit card. Don't pay the credit card.
Wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah, free insurance. Nobody ever thought of this.
Tell you what, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept death. My arm gets cut off, I'm just going to die.
Well, it's over for me.
I'm out. I had a good run.
You're going to be laying there and you'll be like, the symbolism of this is, I got my arm cut off.
Yeah. What does the arm mean as a symbol? Why am I losing this arm?
All the blood that's coming out.
Yeah. What is blood a symbol for? Dude, it's true. There's part of me that knows that once I read this book of symbols, I won't be able to unsee everything that I've seen in here.
Yeah?
They will just come out inevitably everywhere. I've only read a couple pages so far, and I can't unsee those symbols. There's like 800 pages of symbols here.
Yeah. Like,
the symbol of the knee, like, you would never consider a knee to be a symbol.
Yeah.
Like, you look at your knee and you're like, okay,
yeah,
it's a knee. But then you think about people kneeling to gods.
Yeah.
Kneeling to kings.
Uh-huh.
Then you think about the knee as the main source opposing gravity. It's
No.
where all force and weight come from.
Yeah.
And that people, honestly, I don't even know where to go with this. I get it.
Whenever people kneel, right?
Yeah.
They are letting themselves down
Yeah.
to rather than
Yeah.
to like gravity.
Yeah.
They're choosing rather than giving up to gravity. You're giving up to
Exactly.
XYZ.
And then, like, people that, like, having a child sit on your lap, like, the knees are, in a way, perfect of, like, it's almost like an interlocking mechanism.
Yeah.
And it just, there's, even just considering the fucking knees, there's things to think about. No,
Well,
what the hell, what about all the other stuff?
Yeah.
Eyes,
This
penises.
This look like
Yeah.
okay. This is gonna. All right. At some point, you just gotta try drugs, because I mean, like, this is what
Dude,
you talk
I think
about.
this
like,
is a drug.
This
bro.
is yeah.
I don't think I need to get high.
You really don't. I
mean,
actually.
all you gotta do is crack a book and start looking, dude. That's what this podcast is about. It's crack a book and start fucking looking, dude.
I thought you just pointed at fruit by the foot.
In a way, it's like a scroll that unravels. And the scroll says, "Death by sugar."
Yeah. Wait, dude. I just noticed that there's a lot of violets missing.
Yeah, that's...
Have you been gnawing down on those?
Yeah, after I got my first high with the violets, I considered, man, did I really hate that? Or is it suffering of the brain? Is my pain an illusion? Were they good or were they bad?
Now I need to figure out by eating more.
Yeah, is it I mean, you don't really know the first time, right?
Yeah, exactly. How could you know? Is this the second jar of violets you have then?
Yeah, I'm going to leave that up to you to figure out. They don't expire.
Oh, God.
I got to stock up on these bad boys before Elon Musk delivers the fucking 10th cataclysm that wipes us all off the earth.
God.
This stupid philanthropy. Well,
Damn,
is there anything else you wanted to cover? Or?
Can't think of anything else. I think we got most of the subjects.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we can charge up. We can get ready for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our crystals.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have divine inspiration soon.
Yeah.
Good fortune potentially going to befall you.
Yeah.
Or the alternate future of sorrow, dull, prison, pain, ruination.
We'll find out next week.
Yeah, next week.
I come in and I'm like, everybody died.
On Roving Slant. We're not going to do another tarot card reading. Unless it's requested.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I might even buy my own tarot cards
yeah.
and just do that.
I was just letting people know in case they skipped the tarot section that it's not happening again. Unless you pay us.
I mean, like, yeah, I think I like doing it. Was just fun to do for me, you know.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It was good.
Yeah.
All right, well.
I'm going to consider these things.
Yeah, I want you to think about these things. Think about how you're being oppressed as well. We didn't talk about oppression.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a white guy in America.
You gotta stop. We can't go into that.
No, by eating more.